Good morning, everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer. And I'm excited for today's topic because I don't know about smaller Indiana, bigger ideas. You've been in, the realm of boy, I mean, if anybody I ever knew was well connected, it was you. And so, it was like, okay, what is this? So tell me about
Mhm.
this.
So, you have to travel back in time and go back to the days before the general population was invited to participate in Facebook. Do you remember?
I don't I feel like I'm too young for this conversation. Like
Yeah, it was probably '07, '08. Facebook was rolling out, and it was rolling out on college campuses.
I had just graduated from college in '06, so that's really dates me, but no, I don't remember.
So, for those of us that were already in the business community, we saw Facebook and kind of went, okay, whatever. And there were other platforms where you could connect. And one of them was a company called Ning, Ning, where you could build a community. And a guy by the name of Pat Coyle created a Ning community that he called Smaller Indiana. And the idea was we were a big state, but if we could build this online community, which, let's face it, today, this is not rocket science, but back then,
Yeah.
the idea that you could build an online community was intriguing. And he started it with his book club. He had a business book club, and there were 16 people. And he invited those 16 people who invited their friends, who invited their friends, who invited their friends.
Talk about foresight, like somebody that saw what we all now know is very prevalent. Like he saw it before, the internet was even really a thing at that time. I mean, it was around, but
Well, and Twitter was already around, and a lot of us were using Twitter. I
Mhm.
actually, my Smaller Indiana engagement came before my Twitter engagement, even because I was running a traditional marketing agency. And a
Yeah.
lot of the people, if you're here in Indy, a lot of the people that were involved in those early days are going to be names you're going to recognize. Doug Carr built the original Ning platform and
Mm.
working with Pat Coyle, not the not Ning itself, but Smaller Indiana on Ning.
Yeah.
And the really cool thing is it started to grow, and people were having really great conversations. This is pre-troll. This is pre
I
a
don't even know what
place.
troll is.
Trolls. You
Trolls,
do know
trolls.
what trolls.
Okay, I
Yes,
was
yes,
like, "Wait a
yes.
second, is this another platform I don't know?"
No. This is before people figured out that they could be crappy online, and
Ugh,
it would get them engagement. And so Pat would put up a TED video, and people would talk about it, and people were sharing really interesting conversations, and it grew and it grew, and
sounds wonderful.
turned around, and one day there were 1,000 people, and
Oh, wow.
we had our first in-person meeting. Now,
Wow.
again, this was all kind of really different
Yeah,
because I met you online, not even via video. I just met you in, oh my God, you're Chris Lucas, you're Jennifer, you're Stephanie Daly, you're all these people that I
yeah,
feel like I know, but
yeah,
I've never met you. And so the platform grew, and the cool thing was the original people were interesting and involved. They were involved in lots of different organizations. That's how I got involved with Startup Weekend originally. Somebody put a little note up and said, "Hey, we're doing this in Bloomington," and I went, "That sounds interesting," and off
yeah,
I went. Another name that everybody knows in this community is Kyle Lacey.
yeah.
So he decided he was going to welcome everybody who joined to the platform. Now, remember, I said we went from 0 to 1,000.
Right. Then what happened?
He welcomed all those people, and he welcomed them 2,000 and 3,000. The community ultimately grew to 10,000.
Yeah.
We had a conference called Smaller Indiana, Bigger Ideas. Half day conference, people
Wow.
came. It was really great. And like a lot of communities, I think it got too big. And
Yeah.
also and also Facebook changed.
Yep.
They opened up, and suddenly not only could I connect with my smaller Indiana friends,
Yeah.
I could connect with friends and family on Facebook. And so we really saw a shift. And also, the cost of sustaining the platform.
Became too much. There's a lot to kinda take away from just that knowledge there is that, platforms and things online are constantly changing, and
Mm,
so building real connections with people, is what's gonna take you further, and that's been true since the dawn of time.
mhm,
Yeah, so fast forward, we're in 2023 now, and how
mhm.
so yeah, that was 2006, so I mean, that was, what, like 30 years ago, or I don't even wanna do the math, like, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was probably, I think it was oh
20 years ago.
seven, oh
Yeah,
eight. Yeah, yeah, well, no, oh 07, oh 08, 15, 16 years ago. But the connections that we made, I'm still in touch with a lot of those people. And
mhm,
somebody made a comment on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Somebody made a comment on LinkedIn about smaller Indiana, and someone tagged Pat Coyle, who created it originally.
yeah,
And that tag, he tagged me and Doug Carr. And so we started talking again about how cool would it be to have a reunion.
yeah,
And so, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will see a link to it. I can put a link in the show notes. We're doing a Smaller Indiana, Bigger Ideas reunion, and yes, there are going to be a lot of people from the marketing community who've known each other for 15 years. But you know what? We don't want that to be the only people in that room. We would love for people who have come into the community since Smaller Indiana is gone, and have them, like you, and have them join us and get connected, so we can get connected to each other, but also to kind of share a little bit about what the experience was really about, and maybe figure out, how do we do that in today's digital world?
yeah, yeah, I think that's
Because
great. I mean, just to learn from other people that have been there before and have done that, and it's just one of those things that I personally I'm always listening for learning from other people, and so I'm super excited about this event.
I it's it and I really like, because it's very much like the group was originally, in that it's not a very structured
You don't
uh
have to be.
it,
When you put these intelligent people in a room and they can have a conversation, you don't need to be structured. Like, the ideas will just be flowing.
yes. And actually, okay, so we're calling this the 10-year reunion, which means the Smaller Indiana was still running as late as 2014. um I don't remember it that long, but I mean, I know it was there, and I was still on it, because actually my team took over some of the greeting and the admin.
Yeah.
And but if you are interested in attending, it is January the 29th. It's going to be at the Speakeasy at 5 p.m. And I'm looking for, there's the chat window. I very rarely use the chat on this platform. There's a link. There is a link to uh,
The
the
event.
event. Yes, and I'd encourage you guys, come by. It's going to be informal. You'll probably, if you're in the community, you're going to find people that you know. You're going to make some new friends, and I think it will be a really fun event.
Get out of the office and go see
Get out.
real people. Here's your opportunity to see real people, really smart people.
And really fun people. And the nice thing is the tickets are free. We're asking you if you want to make a contribution to help us offset the cost of the beer and the snacks, but we don't want that to be um, a
Reason why not. I
deterrent.
donated
Yeah,
because I was not part of the original, so I'm just thankful to be able to go, but yeah.
yeah. It's going to be fun. So January 29th, 5 p.m.
Alright, take care, everybody.
Bye now.